Today's Daily Dose of Math is about Principle 11 from the Math 4153 geometry course. Principle 11 states that the length of the altitude to the hypotenuse of a right triangle is the geometric mean between the lengths of the segments of the hypotenuse. This is printed on the student's exam sheet along with many other principles. And that's a useful shortcut for the student because it means when they are using this as part of a step in their calculations, they can justify what they're doing by saying, I'm using Principle 11, instead of having to copy out this whole sentence. But the list of principles on the exam does not include this formula or this little diagram. The students in this course are allowed a memory aid, one sheet of paper in which they can put formulas or examples or whatever else it is that might help them in the exam. And I encourage students to include a diagram and maybe an example with the values filled in to remind themselves how to use this. How this principle was developed can be explained in various different ways, but that is the subject for a different video. This video is just showing several examples of it being used. Question A tells us that BH, which is the shorter segment of the hypotenuse, is equal to 2, and CH, the longer segment of the hypotenuse, is equal to 8. How long is AH, the altitude? We take this little formula and we plug in our values and we simplify. AH squared is equal to 2 times 8, which means AH squared is equal to 16. So therefore AH is equal to the square root of 16, which is 4. No units were given in the question, so I'm using the word units as my unit. And I have answered the question, but I haven't justified it yet. I justify it by saying I'm using Principle 11. Make sure the teacher notices it. So the math to solve this question is actually quite simple, so long as you know how to use this. And it's important to know that in this course, there are a couple of other principles that are kind of similar to this one. It's easy to get them mixed up. So this helps the student to be able to justify using the correct principle. In question B, we know BH, the shorter segment, is 4. AH, which is the altitude, is 8. How long is CH, the longer segment? So filling in the little formula, 8 squared is equal to 4 times my unknown, which is CH. 64, therefore, is equal to 4. I'll replace the CH with an X. Divide both sides by 4 to isolate the variable. And X is equal to 16 units. And how did I get that answer? I used Principle 11. So I say so to justify. Remember, if you use it more than once, you should be justifying more than once. In question C, CH, the longer segment, is 12. AH, the altitude, is 6. How long is BH, the shorter segment? It's going to be very similar to B. The altitude squared is 6 squared in this case, and it's equal to 12 times x, my unknown. This time the unknown is BH, the shorter segment. 36, therefore, is equal to 12x. We isolate our variable, and x is equal to 3 units. How did I get that? I justify it. I say I used Principle 11. An important note is that you might be studying this same math, but in a different curriculum. You may have a list of principles and theorems attached to your course, but this one might be there, but it might not be number 11. So be careful to use the list of principles and theorems that goes with your course. This is a situation where this is really important to the students in my class because I teach this Math 4153, but I also teach an advanced version of the same geometry course called Math 4273. And in Math 4273, there are more principles and theorems for the students to know. And because of that, the numbering system is different. And this is not Principle 11 in the other course, it's Principle 13. That is today's Daily Dose of Math. Please like, subscribe, and share.